All right, can you see my screen now?
Yep. But I think before we get started, let's just introduce yourself, like what you do, how you got into Google Ads, your story. I think it'd be interesting to hear for the people.
Well, I started with Facebook ads actually back in 2018, but it wasn't working that well. But then I started watching videos on YouTube about everyone is crushing with Google. So I was like, let's give that a try. So after waiting a long time, I started Google Ads in 2021, January probably. And since then, I actually got really interested in Google Ads. Everything started working really fine. And then I started taking on clients from October, but that was for the Facebook ads. And then I started taking clients from January 2022 this year. And so far this year, we have done for clients over $10 million, for over $500,000 for my brands, and we are just keep growing.
Wow. So what made you choose Google Ads over Facebook ads? Like what made you make the switch? You just like the consistency more? Like why do you like Google Ads more than Facebook ads?
Main reason was the fluctuation ratio and suspensions, because the thing is, no matter how good you are doing on Facebook, actually it can go to zero anytime. There is no guarantee. And for the Google, it's hard right now. It is not hard, I know, to get GMC approved, but once you have active GMC, it's a really stable business.
100%. Once your ad account is approved, everything like that, like it never really goes down, you know?
Yeah. So if any business is just running on Facebook, I think they should introduce other channels, because it gives business more stability.
100%. It's all about diversification, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. If you want, we can get right into it, or if you want to maybe introduce yourself even further. If you have anything else you want to say, you can go ahead. All right, let's get right into it.
All right.
So we're gonna be going over like all the campaigns, everything, the full structure of your account, everything that we're gonna be revealing, everything that you did in order to hit this $155,000 a day. It's very valuable to the audience. So to the audience too, if you guys have any questions, we'll do a Q&A after. But Bonnie, I'll let you take the stage. It's all you. Let's get right into it. We also too, we got Justin here. Just he just hopped in. He's the co-host.
All right, so let's get started. So on Black Friday, one of the brands that I manage, we did $155,000 in a day on only Google Ads. The overall total was like around 400K, but Google played a huge role here. So I will be sharing you like how did I structure the account, what did we do, and at the end of the presentation, I will be also sharing some of the tips which you can keep in mind when you are trying to make a structure for the next sale or any new occasion, anything. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so for this account, actually I used 4 types of campaigns. Search campaign, that was just one search campaign, and it was brand search campaign. Mainly we focused on performance max for cold, warm, and hot, all the type of audience. And we also had shopping ads, but that was just for the backup, which I will be explaining you in the later slides. And the 4th was display, and it was just for impressions. So let's start with brand search campaign. I hear so many times from the brand owners, like, why do we need brand search campaign if we are on the top of the page already without paid ads? Okay, so what if someone is paying to be on that spot? Let's say your competitor is paying to be on that exact spot, and now your potential customers are buying from them instead of you. First thing, brand search campaigns is really cheap CPC, because they already aware about your business, your brand name, and the conversion rate will be extremely high. So how do I structure my brand search campaign? So basically it's manual CPC. I try to add as many type of keywords as possible, and the way I scale brand search campaign is when you go to the search terms, you will see so many other like similar terms that people are actually using to click on your ad, and they are converting. So you need to add those keywords, those search terms as your keywords, so you can scale. So that's how you scale brand search campaign. And then for audiences, actually this is something I do, and it's working really well. So basically when you go to the audience section, you need to add visitors, add to carts, checkout, basically all the type of audiences that you can think. So, and one more tip is like, when you add these audiences, give plus percentage for the bid adjustment. It will be really helpful. As you can see in this screenshot, for all visitors, I have bid adjustment is like plus 20%. For the shopping cart amenders, it's like plus 60%. And if you see the conversion rate, it will be like over 60%. So basically, it's the money that you are, it's easy money. And for the enhanced CPC, I always keep it off. And here is a really good point. I try to exclude buyers. So you can make these custom segments yourself, or sometimes Google also creates this for so many more, I think all the accounts. The reason is why do we want to exclude buyers? So let's say if someone has already purchased the product, most probably they will search for the brand to either contact, let's say, customer service because shipping is delayed, or they want to submit a ticket for return or refund or anything. So we don't want to pay for those CPC. So that is why I actually exclude the buyers.
I'd say that's a really good tip. That's like a golden nugget to exclude buyers. And I also want to go on to one point. So when you're adding more keywords that you see inside of your search terms, do you do that all inside of one ad group, or you have multiple different ad groups?
Actually, I have just one ad group, that's it.
Got it. But yeah, for everyone taking notes, excluding buyers, I think that's a really good tip, because a lot of times if they've already bought, they could click just to look at the contact us or just to track their order. So that's a very good tip.
All right, so what are the metrics that we should look for this brand search campaign? Basically, you need to aim for at least 90% search impression share. And the absolute top metric would be like 70%. So what is like a search impression share? 90% is, let's say if someone is using that keyword to search something, there are 90% of your ads are getting 90% of search impression share. And CPC, okay, this is really good point. Like so many times, does CPC, let's say here I have taken example as $4. Is a $4 CPC good or bad? Okay, so that depends on the what metrics do you get on the backend. So let's say if your CPC is $4, but you are getting a purchase which gets business $20 profit. In that case, so $4 CPC is really good. And most of the times, even if you set really high CPC for the brand search campaign, the chances is Google won't actually exceed that amount, won't even touch that amount, because your quality score and relevancy is higher than everyone else, because it's brand search campaign. They are literally searching for the brand name. So this is a really, really good tip about, you can, let's say, okay, now you have 70% search impression share. So how do you go to 90%? So you need to increase your bids and your budgets. Like I said, even if your CPC, you are increasing your bids higher and higher and higher, and now your CPC is $4, you will still most likely make money. And the thing is, here we are focusing on acquiring customer who are kind of aware about the brand. So we can always squeeze them out through remarketing, emails, SMS, all the backend stuff. So this is like ideal numbers that you should look for when optimizing your brand search campaign. Now here comes the favorite part, Performance Max setup. Okay, so when we launch Performance Max, we see I personally, from my experience, I see two problems. Either it's not spending or it's overspending. So we will talk about this both scenarios one by one. For the Performance Max, on that account, I use that Performance Max for all the audiences, cold, hot, and warm. So now, how do we set up the Performance Max? So first thing is, like, if it is really hard sometimes to get PMax spending on the first day, it's either like spend or not spending at all, or it's like overspending. So what I personally like to do is copy your best Performance Max campaign, increase the budget 2-3 times that you spend, and increase on the Black Friday. I personally increase budget for all the Performance Max every year thereafter. So
I'm curious. I'm curious from your experience. So when you're 2 to 3xing the budget every few hours, like how are you managing all that stuff too? Because with like Performance Max campaigns, sometimes they're very delicate. So I'm curious to see like how it was performing when you're doing those budget increases so frequently on Black Friday, how you were able to manage it.
Okay, so when I launched the campaign, I set the budget for at least 2-3 times higher than the usual budget or the budget I wanted to spend. But when I was increasing the budget, I was increasing 10 to 15% at a time, and
Got it.
it's still like it was still stable. So let's say what I was thinking is, let's say if it doesn't perform well after I increase 15% budget every other hour, what I can maybe do is increase 5%, 10%. It's like kind of trial and error game, but it worked really well.
So you're just watching it like a hawk.
Yeah, I was literally on the laptop all day.
Got it.
Okay. For the assets, make sure you are using only the best assets you have. So how do you get your best asset? First tip is like whatever is working really well on either your Facebook or TikTok, copy that into the Google. And when you are creating the performance max, you will see the tab where they show you the performance of the particular asset. So only pick out the best assets and put them into your copied performance max, which you want to run for sale. And like make sure there is no grammar errors, no punctuations, and all the assets are following Google policy. So let's say you have 5 headlines, but one of them is not following any policy, so you will see limited performance type of error. So we totally want to avoid that. Always double check your work.
And Bonnie, I'm curious too, just on that last point.
Yeah.
For these sales, what would you recommend everyone to do? Let's say for the text, for the images, all that stuff, for the YouTube videos, have like custom assets for the sales. Like how exactly did you approach
Actually,
Black Friday?
Okay, so all the assets we used for these campaigns were custom. So let's say videos clearly mentioned that we are running sale on Black Friday at this % discount. All the headlines clearly mentioned that this is the discount when we are running on Black Friday, blah, blah, blah. So like everything was clear on this, all the assets. Same goes for the images. Actually, Google doesn't like it when you have so much of text in your images. So what I did was I uploaded 4 to 6, I think 5 images, and 2 of them actually had the text, this is the discount on the Black Friday, and other 3 images didn't have any text. And it didn't got we didn't get the warning for limited performance, so that's fine. Otherwise, in that case, I was thinking maybe I will just remove those images if it doesn't do well.
Got it.
Okay, so now shopping ads. Actually, we had shopping campaigns, but the thing is, when you are running this ads for the same products on Performance Max and on shopping ads, the chances is your shopping campaigns won't get an impression, because Performance Max has higher priority on a hierarchy of Google, all the other type of campaigns. So but I still added this just as a backup plan. So let's say, what if Performance Max doesn't spend? In that case, we still want to spend more on the shopping ads. So that is the only reason I always keep shopping campaigns, even if I'm mostly spending all the budget on the Performance Max, even on the normal days, just as a backup plan. Because in my experience, shopping gets most the sale as compared to search and display. Okay, and now we will go to the display ads. Okay, it is really hard to make display ads work, but the goal for us on the Black Friday was to use displays just to get cheap impressions, because it will cost you like literally 0.05 to 0.2 cents. Okay, so the only goal for the displays was the impressions, nothing else. And so I segmented, you can see in the screenshot, audience into website visitors, add to carts, checkouts, everything. And we are, so by using display ads, we were reminding all the audiences that we are running sale. So we are always on their mind. So let's say if someone is busy during morning, they are seeing this ad maybe during night, and it's cheap, so it worked. Okay, so additional tips that that you should keep in mind while you are planning to scale. First thing is you need to understand your customer behavior and buying patterns. So what do I mean by this? Is when you go to your Shopify analytics section and you will see all the reports, you can see which is your peak time, which is your peak day. So let's say for some brands, you would see that they are doing really good on the weekends. For these some brands, let's say if it's in fitness niche, they are doing really good on Mondays. So you need to know what days are working the best for your brand. You can also segment them by the time. Actually, I didn't put here the screenshot, but I think you can get the idea. So let's say if you see that your audience is working really well between 1 a.m. to 4 a.m., you can bid higher during that time. If you see that your audience is not working during this specific time period, you can bid lower that time. So that way you can maintain the profitability. So you are not spending the money when you are actually not making higher profits. You can push that budget to the time when your audience are actually converting. The second thing is do not scale if you are not prepared. So let's say when you are scaling a business, you are not just scaling good parts of the business, you are also scaling the bad parts of the business. So let's say if your warehouse team isn't ready or you have shipping delays, so you are just making things worse for yourself, your team, in your business. So this is also a cool tip to keep in mind. And make sure you calculate your inventory beforehand you are planning to scale. So you should know, okay, this is the amount that we can handle at maximum. Because if things are working really well and you are still trying to push the ads but you don't have inventory, so basically you lose the money on the ads, and they will push for the chargeback, so you are losing your trust score with the payment processors, and now your customer service team is really frustrated. And this is the code. We are ending this presentation with this code from Peaky Blinders. When you plan something well, there is no need to rush. So actually, we started planning for this day like 3-4 weeks before. Everything was literally ready at least 2 weeks before. So if you are trying to do everything on the last day, it's likely that you will make so many mistakes. So always make sure there is a buffer time. So even if you make something or make any mistake, there is a chance that you can fix it. Okay, so I think that's the slides, and now we can start with question and answers.
Awesome. Yeah, that was an amazing presentation, by the way. Like,
Thank you.
very valuable information. I'm sure everyone loved it.
Real quick, Bony, how long have you been running this brand for on Google?
On Google, I think we started on first week of February with literally 0 ad spend, and now we are like over $500,000 every month.
Amazing. Wow. Let's see. So we have a few different questions here. I guess I could kind of go through them for you. So is this results from Google Shopping ads or other ads placement?
Actually, this is combined results, and screenshot is taken from the Hyros. Hyros is basically a third-party tracking software like Triple Whale or AnyTrack.
Awesome.
I think also like potentially what he could be asking too is like how the spend distribution was on the account.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, Performance Max took the most spend, Performance Max and brand search.
Neat. And are you running like on Facebook and TikTok and other channels too, or are you relying a lot?
Yeah. Yes, we are running on Facebook and TikTok and Snapchat everywhere.
Okay. I'm just curious, like how much, like what percentage would you say Google makes up of your revenue?
I would say 35 to 40% would be safe to say, because the thing is brand search, whatever amount of sales brand search gets, most likely it is because of the amount we spend on Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat. So
Awesome.
In terms of spending, Google has less spending than the other channels, but in terms of profit, Google brings the most profit than the other channels.
That's just like for us too. See, this is a kind of a interesting question to read. So let me just read it and hopefully we can make sense of it. Can we run more shopping with PMax if we keep things empty? And will this perform better than standard shopping? I wonder if he's talking about like running like a performance max shopping only campaign where you kind of strip everything out.
Honestly, I wouldn't recommend that. Like Performance Max is literally doing all the job for you. They're running search, YouTube, shopping, and display ads in one. So I recommend you do everything. Why would we want to just do the shopping? It's actually saving time if we launch Performance Max rather than launch the other 3 separate campaigns.
And then next question is, when for your bidding strategy, do you use PMax? Or actually, what's bidding strategy do you use for PMax? And do you use target ROAS or leave it open as max conversion value?
This is a really interesting question. I was hoping to get this question, and the answer is I use maximize conversions, but what I recommend is that you test all and see what works for your account. The thing is, I have tested all the different type of bidding strategies for the Performance Max on different accounts, and for me personally, maximize conversion is working really well. But I still highly recommend that you give other strategies a shot to see if they work better for you. What kind of creative do you use for display? Okay, images, text, everything. The thing is, whenever you are launching any campaign, I personally try to give Google as much content as I can, so they have like better chances of making it work. So let's say if they allow you to add 5 headlines, make sure you are adding 5 headlines. If they allow you to add, let's say 3 descriptions, make sure you are using all the 3 descriptions. And here is one more tip. When you are creating your headlines and descriptions, go and see the data you have on the other campaigns. Let's say brand search campaign or shopping campaign, all the campaigns, and see what are the keywords that bringing you most the sale. Try to use those keywords everywhere. Let's say in your videos, in the caption of your videos, in your descriptions, in your headlines, everywhere. Site links, call out extensions, everything.
So for your display creatives, do you use like mostly pictures of the product, or are they more lifestyle, or?
Mostly what I do is I just pick the best which is working on Facebook and TikTok, and I put them into the Google, whether it's Performance Max or display. That's how I select the videos for Performance Max as well. So let's say what I do is I make a list of videos. I try to get the list of videos which are working really well on TikTok and Facebook ads, and I try to add those into the Performance Max, and whichever is working we keep. So it's like a progressive thing. You don't just find 2 videos and then forget about it. You try to do it every 2-3 weeks. So you are introducing new videos and removing the old videos.
Awesome. And then Otto wants to know, what type of signals do you use to target inside your asset groups?
Okay, for the let's say sale, or for the campaigns which we use to run sale, I added warm and hot audience. So let's say website visitors, add to cart, checkout. Even on 2 campaigns, I remember I added past buyers as well, because now we are pushing to the same people who already are aware about the brand. And for normal campaigns, I try to keep it open. So let's say you are selling something broad product. Let's say you are selling camera, so maybe electronics, gamers, gaming, and I try to keep it just one audience per one asset group. So you can see like which is exactly working. So you have, let's say, 3 random signals in just one asset group. So it's really hard to find which actually worked and which actually didn't work.
Awesome. And then Peter wants to know, do you put multiple products in one PMax campaign, or are you splitting out products into multiple PMax campaigns?
Okay, this is a really good question. So my answer is I try to keep them separate if they are different product, but if it's like the same product, same collection, then you can keep them into one group. So what do I mean by this is, let's say you have 2 different products. Let's say you are selling a t-shirt and a jeans. So negative keywords for the t-shirt would be different for the negative keywords for the jeans. So you should I like to keep them into a separate. But let's say you are selling the same type of t-shirt, but you have like 3 different designs. In that case, you can keep all these 3 t-shirts into one PMAX. That's fine. So it depends on like what type of products do they actually resonate with each other. That is the question you should ask. If that answer is yes, then it's fine to test them into one PMAX.
Okay. And then Camille wants to know, what kind of Google ads would you recommend for a total beginner?
Okay, first, no matter what, you need to launch brand search, then start standard shopping ads with manual CPC, and manual CPC same goes for the brand search. And once you have enough budget, enough data on the account, then and only then go to the performance mix. Make sure your Google account has enough data to find you customers before you actually launch the performance mix, because you have a little control, let's say almost no control once you launch the PMAX. So before we actually launch the PMAX, make sure Google has some sort of idea to find where to find your ideal buyers.
Awesome. And then is there anything that you would recommend to increase the likeliness to get approved for the GMC approval?
Yeah,
Okay.
me and Bonnie were actually talking about this too. So like for drop shipping and stuff like that, it's getting a little bit more difficult lately, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, Bonnie.
Okay, so
There's a lot of
first
experience there.
make sure your website looks legit instead of scamming dropshipping website. Google algorithm is really smart than what we think of it is. So they can literally see like it is actually real brand or not. So try to make it as branded as possible. Second thing, don't copy your images or your descriptions exactly from anywhere. What would I even recommend is, let's say, if you don't even have time to make descriptions and everything, just write something 2, 3, 4, 5 lines just on yourself rather than copying 100% from some your competitor's website. Then make sure you have all the policies, let's say refund policy, return policy, shipping policy, term and service, privacy policy, everything. And for the contact, this is really important. Make sure Google actually recommends that you have 3 of these 2 on your website. It's either email, phone number, or address. What I recommend is make sure you add all those 3. And if you are not comfortable with letting your customers see your phone number, then you can remove your phone number after your GMC is approved. And the data, the contact information you have in your footer, make sure that's the same contact information you have on your contact us page, and that's the same information you have on your GMC. So you will see the business information under chat settings on your GMC. So make sure that actually everything is same. And yes, try to use real phone number rather than the virtual phone number. And that same goes for the address. And email, let's say your brand is xyz.com. So make sure your email looks professional. Let's say help@xyz.com or support@xyz.com. It's really easy to simple. It's really simple setup. It won't take more than 5 minutes. But as long as it looks really branded, it should be fine getting approval with GMC.
Amazing tips.
Awesome. And then there's a few other questions too here. On the store that you did the presentation on, how many products did you have roughly in that store?
We have 4, actually on that day we had 4 main products, and then we upsell them for the other 2 to 3 products. So basically on the front end, we are trying to sell them just one product, but by the time they actually finish the purchase, they actually buy 2 or 3 at least.
Awesome. And then did you start this brand based off of one specific product that you knew would sell really well, or
actually this brand is a client brand, and yes, they started with one brand and one product, and now we are introducing more products.
Awesome.
But it's a similar niche, so all the products are resonating with each other. So what we can do is we can use the current customer base to actually sell the other products we are introducing. So basically we are trying to increase the LTV.
And then when you surf your budgets throughout the day, are you being very aggressive with your scaling bids, or are you resetting at the end of the night and then starting over?
Okay, so what we did was I set up rules. So basically at certain time, this specific time, all the ads will get turned off automatically, and this time in the morning, all the ads will be turned on automatically. And for the budgets, I didn't lower the budget the next day, because we actually planned this for like 2-3 days scaling. But if you are not comfortable, you can always reduce the budget, that's fine. And for the beats, I didn't actually change any beats. Only time you actually want to change the beats is either you are not getting enough impressions, or your search impression share is low, so you need to push the beats so your ads can being served to the more audience. Does that answer your question?
I think so. And then let's see, Otto was asking, do you always add videos on the inside of your asset groups, or do you leave them open sometimes?
For Performance Max, I think I have added videos 100% of time.
Yeah, because if you don't add videos, they can create their own videos.
Yeah, and that's terrible. And the thing is, they are actually doing all the work for you. So I highly recommend that you add videos. It's not really even if your video isn't like super good, it will still do the job.
Awesome. And do you have any
100%.
preference on what type of products you like to run with performance or Google campaigns?
Not really. Actually, I have ran so many products in so many different industries that at this point I have actually no preference. But still, my personal criteria would be something which has higher AOV and higher profit margin. So when you are scaling, you are more comfortable increasing the budget and beats. Because the thing is, this is really similar on all the advertising platforms. So let's say when you are testing or not scaling super aggressively, and your CPA is, let's say, $15, but when you scale, you will see that your CPA will rise, maybe 70, 20, 20, so 22. So you should be in a position where you are even comfortable at 22. So this is something you should keep in mind, like the margins.
Awesome.
What strategy you use in a brand search campaign? It's a manual CPC. I always use manual CPC, because the thing is, manual CPC gives you the most control when it comes to search impression share. What tool do you use? I mostly use the keyword planner, which is free for everyone on the Google Ads account, but I also have keywords everywhere, but I don't really use that much. I mostly use the Google keyword planner. If you are testing a large amount of content, yeah, so we are actually narrowing down the creatives in Performance Max, because we are only adding those videos which are already being proven on Facebook and TikTok. And for the assets, I would say, even if you add the least requirement, that's fine. But the more assets you can add, the better. So let's say at least 5 headlines, 2 descriptions, 1 large description, 5 images would be like ideal. But try to add as much as you can on the PM. Okay, on most of the PMX right now that is doing really well, I have more than 20 images and five videos. Okay, that's the max.
I'd say to that point too, like when you said to use assets that are already proven on Facebook, I say that's a very good tip, because it's a lot harder to verify what is working on the Performance Max campaigns. And if you already use what's working, then I say for anyone taking notes, it's a very good tip.
And the thing is, when you actually try to monitor your performance for the asset groups, you will see the like best, medium. There is this column in the where you can see like how did this asset do. So what you need to do is when you see something doesn't have excellent or best, just remove it and replace it with something which is working on Facebook. So this way you are constantly refining your assets. So Google always has better content to show to the audience. Like other platforms, everyone likes like better content, audience or platform, everyone. So it's a really easy way to actually refine it. What's the niche of your brand? Just curious. This isn't my brand, but this is outdoor niche. For brand search, I would say target all the countries that you are running ads in. Why wouldn't you want to do that? I mean, it's free money basically. So let's say if you're running ads only in USA, then brand search in US is fine, but let's say if you're running in top 5, then you should like launch the brand search for top 5. Shopping campaigns and start PMX. I didn't start at PMX. Well, let's say if you have enough purchases, then go for it. Let's say if your average order value is less than $50 and you have over 300, 400 purchases, then maybe give it a try at a little budget. But the thing is, make sure you set up a rule for spending, because Performance Max can actually, even I see this literally every day. Even if I set the budget for the new PMX $50 a day, sometimes it spends $500 a day. So make sure you set up rules, like if it spends $50 a day, then turn that campaign off. So you have like a peace of mind. You are not constantly monitoring that campaign.
And you're setting these rules in Google AdWords, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's really easy to set up rules in a Google Ads account. I'm not selling any GMCs for now. Brand search, then start shopping. Not necessarily. So it depends on what type of product do you have. There are so many products, like those products doesn't have search volume, and it depends, like, does your product has search volume on Google or not? If they do, then you don't really need to push them on Facebook and TikTok. You can just focus on Google and start and try to build your cash flow through that, and then introduce the other channels. How would you start over if you only had 2,000 to get up? Honestly, I would only test products on Google, and when I started, I had less than $2,000. I don't know, less than 1,000 something. So I highly recommend you start from Google. Make sure your research is solid. So even if you don't make profits, you will still, so try to be even break even. And focus on, don't focus too much on the higher ticket items, because if you're running everything on a low budget and your average order value is $3,000, and what would you do when you get your first refund? When someone like asks for the refund, it's mess.
I have a question, Bony.
Yeah.
So to achieve that scale and Performance Max campaigns, what would you say helped you the most when you're optimizing your feed in Google Merchant Center? Any tips for the audience?
Yes. Make sure there is no warning and no disapproved products on your GMC. Okay, this is, I think this is directly connected. The thing I see is when you have limited performance on GMC, you will see a higher CPC, bad traffic, lower conversion rate, everything low ROAS on Google Ads account. So don't try to scale too much. Don't try to scale too hard on Google Ads if your GMC is not solid. Try to solve all the warnings, all the issues you have on GMC before you scale your ads. This is a really good question. I personally recommend starting with Google Ads, but it's your choice. Do your research, like what are you comfortable? Which platform would you be comfortable? Watch some videos on YouTube, and maybe actually it's your call. But I would personally start with Google if I had to start over. Well, you can use your own business or your own address. That's fine. Like 2 years ago, there was this. Actually, when I first created my GMC, there was this website I forgot. They actually provide a virtual address, and it worked then. But now it's 50-50. So what I would recommend is use the real address. What's your? Honestly, I don't focus too much on the search volume, because the thing is, when you actually launch the product, you will see that there's that main keyword that you wanted to focus on isn't the only keyword that is getting you sales. So you will see like there are other keywords, similar keywords, like similar terms that are actually getting you a sale. So if you combine those keywords, you can still make some sort of enough search volume to get to sell that product. And the thing is, if the product doesn't have search volume, then you are not basically spending anything. So you don't have to lose anything other than the time. And for the criteria, I would say stick to more than $25 gross margin. Faster shipping times, faster supplier, and like try to stay away from the items like glass or something that has a higher chances of getting broken while shipping, so you don't have to deal with the lots of returns and refunds and everything. I try to let it run for 4 to 5 days without touching it. But the thing is, if you haven't set the rules for the budget, you might need to touch it and turn it off. So make sure you do that before you launch your PMAX.
Could you give us an example of some of the rules that you set?
Yeah, so let's say for all the campaigns, I have this rule as an example. It depends, like I said, on your brand. Go to the Shopify analytics and see when does the customer stops buying. You will see a drastic difference in all the hours of the day. So let's say on a Friday, you see like the data for last 30 days, your customers aren't actually buying anything after 9 p.m. So make sure you set up rules on Google, which turns all the campaigns off, but brand search at 9 p.m. and see when does the customer actually again starts to buy, and maybe you will see 8 a.m. in the morning. So you set up the second rule, which turns on your own all the campaigns again at the 8 a.m. and make sure your brand search is running 24/7. We don't want to set up any rules for the brand search ever. And if you are launching Performance Max for the first time, you only with this, other than these two rules, you will need to add this third rule. When let's say if your daily budget is $50, you need to create a rule when if your Performance Max spends more than $50, they automatically get turned off. I don't have any agency. I work as an individual, a freelancer with multiple agencies at this point. Okay, this is a good question. What type of questions do you ask? Mostly, first question right now is like, do you have active GMC? Because there are other options that you can actually make Google Ads account work, but there is no way around right now for the GMC. So that is the first question I asked. And then what is their revenue? What is their margins? Do they actually have chances of scale? Because let's say if they are not suitable, and I don't think there are chances of scaling the business, then I would totally avoid to ignore their time and my time. So yeah. Which market you sell your own products from? Okay, my best brand, my personal brand is like in India, which we are trying to grow. It's a custom product, and the niche is, let's say, self-care. Do you use the max conversions on all your PMAX campaigns, and do you? No, I'm only running most of the accounts. I try to stick to this structure where the only search campaign is a brand search. Other than that, PMAX will do the job. And right now, max conversion is, I would say, 90%. Is on the 90% of my PMAX campaigns. So let's say you are trying 5 different bid strategies, and you will see, okay, this 3 is working, then don't turn that off. Let it run. Why would we want to turn it off if it makes money? But see, like, okay, you launched the 5 Performance Max, and this worked the best, and you try to launch other 3, and then stick to that bid strategy, so you know that strategy is working well for your account. What plugins do you recommend for upsells? Oh, honestly, I think you can use like Zipify, then Vitals. Mostly it will work as long as your product in upsell is like resonating with your main product. I think it will do the job. Well, if you have faster shipping times, lower lower refunds, then you running with the Stripe wouldn't be an issue. But if you are really doing high volume, then maybe try to get a manual private processor. On this brand, I think we are not using anything private processor. We have PayPal, Stripe, everything. So if you are running a genuine brand, it shouldn't be an issue. Oh, I actually started in 2K18. Then I actually found my first, I tested 77 products before I found my first winner. And the way I was working is I didn't had much money to test on products. So I was getting contracts for editing photos, and I still don't know how to use Photoshop. So basically I was outsourcing those contracts to someone on Fiverr. So let's say you pay me $500, I would outsource that for $200. So $300 is like net margin, and I am still don't know how to use Photoshop. But that's
I
how
think
I raise the capital.
I think also too, because we've been going for about like 50 minutes, just to be respectful of your time too. We'll try to pick a few of rather than answering the final 18, we'll just try to pick a few
Mhm.
very valuable questions.
Yeah.
So somebody's asking, they're running a bunch of manual search campaigns, smart search campaigns, and standard shopping. And they recently added Performance Max campaigns for about a month now. And then obviously due to the high priority, Performance Max took over the manual search campaigns, smart search campaigns, and standard shopping. So he's recommending what you would do in this case, focus on like Performance Max and test different target ROAS, or resume doing the.
Yeah, that is what exactly I would do. Try to start launching your PMAX slowly, and once you are getting enough momentum on PMAX, you can turn off smart, or honestly don't turn it off as long as it's working. So yeah, start launching PMAX.
Okay, let's see what else. Do you do cash on delivery in India? And if so, how do you set it up?
Okay, we do cash on delivery, and actually one of my business partner manages that part of the business, warehouse and everything. I have in Pune. We have in Pune, and we also have like a Razorpay, which is similar to Stripe but for the India. And it is actually similar to set up. It is easy to set up when you are using third-party applications such as a Sheep Rocket. So basically, they deliver your product by partnering with different couriers, and they will pay you out after a certain time limit, depending on how much revenue you have, how long you have been their client, and everything.
Awesome. Another guy is asking, how and where would you learn Google Ads currently? And what would be the perfect resource to come close to your knowledge?
Okay, there are a few YouTube channels that I would recommend. First would be Charlie Brand. Then there is Nick Albanese, and then read tweets from Ryan, Performance Max on Twitter. I personally read all the tweets. I like that guy. And there are two guys that you can see on my following list on my Twitter. I don't actually know how to pronounce the names, but you can see like there are a few people who are making really good tweets on Twitter. I highly recommend, if you guys are not on Twitter, get on it as soon as possible. People are literally giving it away, everything for free.
100%.
Like this call is for free. You are literally getting all the real answers. You don't need to spend money on the mentorship and expensive courses. But maybe you can use that same amount in your testing. You never know.
Another person's asking about, they're running a shopping campaign for a diaper bag brand. And they started on a 1.25 CPC all the way to 3.5 CPC, but it's barely getting any impressions. Do you have any tips on how they could get more impressions on their shopping campaign?
Okay, maybe because diaper is an industry where billion dollar valued brands are in the same industry as well. So maybe they are outbidding you. They have better trust score, quality score than you. So what you should do is, instead of focusing on the main keyword diaper, maybe try to see around what are the similar keywords that those big players are not using in their ads, not targeting or anything, and try to start to capitalize from that. That is something I have learned a hard way. So one of these brands, let's say I am competing with really big brands, international brands, or they have presence in more than 50 countries. How would you compete with them? Because they can afford $5 CPC and I'm just starting out. So this is how you do. You try to find the like bunch of keywords that they are not competing or paying, and you start to capitalize on that. So if someone searches for the date keyword, make sure you are showing up as a first.
Awesome. Any final questions on your end, Justin, or any ways we could
No, I think
finish this
we're
up?
good. I would just say, like, guys, check out Performance Max Discord. We're always around to help you answer any of your questions, and we're there all day, every day too. So,
And we're working on improving it. And also for the replay, we'll be able to post the replay for everyone because there was some very valuable insight. I especially liked how you said you test the assets on Facebook ads first to get proof of concept and then put them into the Performance Max campaigns. And you went over a lot of very good strategies like excluding purchasers for the brand search campaigns and a lot of golden nuggets that a lot of you guys could take in order to make more money on your advertising. So thank you again, Bony, for showing up. Thank you for your time.
Actually, thanks for having me. I hope everyone got the most out of their time, and make sure you use all these things that we have shared here on the call, and let's all crush it.
Amazing, man. It was a pleasure. And thank you everyone for showing up.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
see you.